server's virtual router. Okay, so based on the slide, we already have this up and running. So we have .2 and .1, and I'm sending all the traffic, and it goes to the outside via router 1. Let's do the same thing for router 2. Let's go ahead and configure router 2, and we're going to make the untrusted interface here, and then allocate that to router 2. We're going to configure a subnet on the server side, and we're going to make sure that we can ping from the inside to the outside. But in this case, we're going to make it a little bit more interesting. We're going to put OSPF in between. We're going to do a dynamic peering between those two devices, the Palo Alto firewall and the core switch. Okay, let's go back onto network, virtual routers, and let's create the second one, which will be a virtual router 2. And let's create that second router, which will face the servers. Click OK. We have it there. Now we got to allocate the other interface. In this case, will be interface 3 to the router 2. We're going to add that real quick. Go ahead into interfaces. Let's select interface 3. I'm going to make it a layer 3. Remember, it has to be layer 3. Let's assign that to the server router. And we're going to call this on the untrusted interface. So we know that this is the interface that wants to go to the servers, but it's the untrusted because it's coming from the client core. IPv4, we're going to allocate an interface for this one. And based on our slide, it's going to be 10.100.255.1/30. And in advance, we're going to make sure that we can ping that interface. And we should be good to go. Let's hit commit. And let's give it a shot and test that I can reach this .1 here on the server side. Okay, so I do have the .2 address that faces the server router. So you can see it here, and it's connected to port 7. So I have .2. I should be able to ping that .1. So let's give it a shot and see if we're lucky. And this is a local one. Let's see if we're lucky enough. There you go. We are able to ping from the core to the Palo Alto. Just going to go ahead and configure OSPF. I'm going to do a basic configuration. I'm going to enable that interface that is facing the Palo Alto as a point-to-point OSPF, network point-to-point interface. And I'm going to be doing the same thing on the Palo Alto and enabling OSPF on the other side. My router, server router, and let's go to OSPF. We got one. We're going to add the area. This is where we allocate the area. In our case, we're just going to do the backbone area, and it's inserted in a wildcard fashion. So you got to type it in wildcard. Let's make it just a normal for now. Range, interface. So range, you want to allocate the subnets that you want to advertise here on the range. And on the interface, you enable OSPF to listen for hellos on that particular interface that you allocate here. We want to do that with port 3. This is the port that is participating in the router 2. We're going to enable it. If you want to make it passive, you can enable it as passive by just clicking here. And our link type, because my core is point-to-point, we want to make sure that we're setting up a point-to-point here. And this is how you can tweak OSPF hellos and dead and retransmits and whatnot. You can tweak it here if you need to. Metric, authentication profile. So if you want to do OSPF, a secure OSPF, like have MD5 hash between your two switches, you can do it from here. And priority and bidirectional forward detection, you can configure those profiles here as well. Click OK. And now we have the interface here. We'll press OK. OK again. And we're going to press commit. Now I should be able to see an OSPF adjacency popping on the core switch. This will be the Palo Alto, which is router ID.1, appearing with router ID.2. And then we're going to take a look at the Palo Alto and see if we also can see more information about the OSPF peering. Let's go real quick to the core. Let me show IP OSPF neighbors. And yes, I just got an adjacency. My neighbor ID, this is the Palo Alto, has been established and via Ethernet 1/7. Let's take a look from the Palo Alto side and see how that looks. And right here on my virtual router section, you select runtime stats, and this is where you're going to see adjacency forming, and you're going to see any dynamic routes that are learned over that peering. Click on more, and we see that we have a peering between my local interface and my core switch. So I have a way to see in OSPF that I have a neighbor. There you go. So this is my core switch. And if you click here on my OSPF, I have my neighbor address, which is .2, and I'm .1. This is the one that I configure on my local virtual router. Close, and now let's add another interface, and this will be the interface that belongs to the server side. And I just want to simulate that I have another network. So in this case, I'm just going to make a loopback and assign that to this particular subnet, and then I'm going to advertise that in OSPF, and the core switch should be able to see the route. So let's go back onto the core, and let's take a look. Right now, you can see I only have directly attached interfaces learned over my core switch. Once I have that subnet, that loopback address, advertising OSPF of the Palo Alto, I should be able to see that OSPF route right here. So let's go ahead and configure that real quick. Let's go back to the Palo Alto. Okay, let's create a loopback interface. One, and this will be the server subnet, or server 1 in this case. We're going to assign that to the virtual router, server router. Security tone, this will be a trusted device. So this subnet or this host belongs to the trusted zone. IPv4, add, and we're going to allocate an IP. This IP, we said that it was going to be 10.255.0.1, and let's make it just a single /32 for now. And let's make sure that we can ping it so we can test that we're able to connect to it. Okay, so we should be good to go. Click OK. Now I need to add that into OSPF. Let's go enter virtual routers, the server router. Let's go to OSPF, and let's select our existing area, configure area right here. And let's add that new interface, which is a loopback. And in Palo Alto, you cannot have it as an active. It has to be a passive interface. So we just need to enable this, but this is just for this demonstration. For loopback interfaces, you have to make it as passive, and then we'll press OK. But now, because it's passive, I need to advertise the subnet that interface is currently sitting at. I'm just going to create a local area or a local network that I want to advertise. In this case, will be that 1/32. That is my loopback address. If I want to make a /24, I can do so, and it will still fall on the range. And I want to advertise that. And again, this is if you have a network that you want to advertise, but the interface that is sitting on, it's not necessarily participating in OSPF, this is the way. You just add the range onto your OSPF process, and boom, it should be showing on the core switch. Click OK, press OK, let's commit, and we should be good to go. Okay, finally, let's take a look at that. There you have it. So now we know that we're seeing 10.255.0.1 via this path, which is my router 1. But I am not going to be able to ping it because I still need a security policy to allow the traffic between the untrusted and the trusted. Let's take a look if we can ping that address. And sure enough, we cannot ping that address. So let's go ahead and fix that by making a security policy. Go back to Palo Alto, Policy, Security. We'll click on Add. I'm going to say untrusted to trusted. Source. Add, untrusted, destination, trusted, application will leave as it is, actions, and we're going to allow. And we have the policy there. And we're going to press commit, and then we're going to test a ping and see if we can reach now that loopback interface. Okay, let's go ahead and ping. And we should be able to see a head count incrementing here. Back onto my core switch, press the up arrow. And sure enough, we can ping, and now we should be able to see a head count incrementing on the Palo Alto. And sure enough, those are my 5 ping responses. There you have it. Simple. Needs a little bit of practice, but it allows you to have complete isolation between your network segments. So if you want to isolate the server environment from the clients and have the Palo Alto enforce policies between those 2 network segments, you can do it by allocating different virtual routers. Again, you can do it with a single virtual router. Do you want to have a lot of route statements on a single router, or do you want to have everything more clean, more granular? In this case, it works very good also when you implement virtual firewalls, and we're going to discuss virtual systems or virtual firewalls. This is a mandatory item. We got to have a virtual router allocated to each, and we're going to take a look at that and how do you leverage that routing virtual router service that Palo Alto offers. In the next video, we're going to be looking at destination NAT. Thank you for watching.